All right, so there's some crazy narratives going around about Tesla stock. It's not the bears, guys, it's the bulls. And guess what? It is completely plausible that if this happens, we are all screwed as shareholders. So let's discuss what the bulls are saying, if it's actually plausible at all, what the consequences of it all are, and everything else. And I'll give you my take on if I think it's going to happen or not. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth without the hype. All right, so there's been a lot of talk around Elon's compensation package, basically what's going to happen if it gets approved or not, just kind of to basically recap the bottom line with all this. Elon's basically said, hey, if I don't get this thing approved, I may just take my ball and go home. I'm paraphrasing there. It's not exactly what he said, but you guys kind of get the gist of kind of what he said there and kind of what he's thinking. So let's actually look at some facts around this, because you guys know we like getting to the truth. So we need to look at facts first, and then we'll jump into some of my thoughts on it as well. So fact number one, bulls are panicking. Now look, it's not the first time that Tesla bulls right here on YouTube and CNBC and everywhere else have, basically panicked. I mean, we saw it back whenever Tesla was falling and falling and falling and falling. Lots of folks panic sold right at the bottom. And guess what's happening right now? We're seeing bulls once again starting to trim their positions or sell out of their positions, and we don't even know what's going to happen on the vote yet they're already selling. And some of these folks are like ultra bulls, who have, ridiculous, $100,000, $200,000, whatever the heck the number is, price targets, on Tesla stock. They're actually selling out of the stock. So when I look at this, I feel like it is a straight up panic situation. And let me kind of give you a specific example here. So if I have somebody tell me that there is no key man risk with Elon, if he leaves, hey, Tesla's in great hands, everything's great, everything's awesome, when the share price is up, obviously. And then all of a sudden now we're in a different scenario to where, okay, it's potential that he may very well leave. He doesn't get his compensation package. And all of a sudden you want to sell his stock because Tesla's basically dead at that stage if he leaves. You can't have those two things be true. And that tells me that's a lot more emotion speaking than actual analysis of the company. So that right there is what makes it factual to me that yes, bulls are panicking in regards to Tesla stock. They are not using solid analysis of the situation here. So fact number two, pay package is the largest in history by a mile. All right, so let me kind of put this in context here with more facts. At the time that, the pay package, not when it was approved, but once it actually went through, he was owed that particular amount, the $56 billion. He made more than the 200 highest paid CEOs in the world combined. Think about that for just a second. The 200 of the largest, the biggest, the baddest CEOs out there, he made more than all 200 of them combined in that year. I understand it was a pay package for several years. I got it, but it doesn't matter. The facts are that is an astonishing number. And oh, by the way, let's take a look, because the second highest pay package ever was also, basically this one right here we're discussing is the biggest by a mile. It's the largest ever. The next one was also kind of an outlier. It was also the largest one by a mile previous to Elon's pay package, being way up there. So basically you have kind of CEO pay down here, kind of everybody's kind of in, a general range right around here. Obviously it kind of goes up as you get into the, the bigger CEOs and such. And then all of a sudden here's this outlier right here. And they all went, oh yeah, here, hold my beer, guys. I'm going to go way up here with my pay package. But when you look at that outlier from previously, that was Elon's prior pay package. So the two largest pay packages by miles and miles and miles and miles are both from Elon, are both to Elon Musk. So let's put even more facts to it. Even the biggest, highest paid CEOs out there, their packages right now today do not even match his old pay package, much less his newer pay package. So his old pay package, the rest of the CEOs haven't even caught up to that. Not one of them has caught up to that one yet, much less the one that we're looking at right now. Those are facts that you cannot deny. Another fact is a 95% pay cut or 90% or whatever, 90+% pay cut still makes him the highest paid CEO by a mile. Again, those are facts, guys. This is not me trying to give you the bear narrative or trying to, spread FUD or anything else like that. Those are straight facts about the pay. And I think it's important to discuss the facts about the pay whenever we're trying to contextualize what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And I think discussing the straight facts makes a big difference in terms of trying to understand all the different sides of the argument as we're looking at it. So fact number three, pay versus performance may not be there. Now look, don't get upset. Listen to me all the way through, kind of hear all the facts that I'm going to put in front of you. And then, obviously if you just, I guess you can disagree with facts, but these are facts around the pay and the performance in regards to the stock itself, which in the end, that's exactly what we're paying for. We are paying for performance. And I'm not going to pick some penny stock or some other outlier like that. No, I'm going with a mega cap and strictly sticking with that. I'm also going with a founder, just like Elon is. And I'm going back 5 years. So we have plenty of time. So it's not like I cherry picked a year where, things may have looked a different way or whatever the case is. No, 5 years is very reasonable. The pay package is a 5-year package. This right here is exactly what we're looking at. So I chose Jensen over at NVIDIA. I agree they've been on an incredible run. But again, Tesla has also had incredible runs over the past 5 years as well. So it's not an unreasonable comparison at all. Now, Jensen was paid roughly $100 million, a little bit more than $100 million for that 5-year period. And Elon was paid $56 billion if this pay package stands during the same 5-year period. So to be clear, that means Elon was paid 56 times more than Jensen to run the company there. So, we're just kind of, again, 100 million versus 56 billion is a giant, giant gap in terms of pay. So obviously, as a shareholder, you would expect maybe not 56 times the performance, but I would definitely expect them to outperform the other stock, to outperform the other CEO, and by a pretty wide margin if we had to do that. But we actually see the exact opposite. NVIDIA stock has returned to over 1,700% in the past 5 years, and Tesla has returned over 800% during that same time. So Jensen has basically doubled up Elon's performance in terms of stock price, which is what the compensation was based on there. And that right there is a fact. It's not something we can ignore. And, we can make excuses. We can say certain things. Whatever the case is, okay, great. Take the stock back up to all-time highs whenever it hit all-time highs for Tesla. Back then, basically double the market cap here and a little bit more. And you see, then the performance would be kind of equal. But in terms of performance, I think NVIDIA shareholders are getting a better deal in regards to that. So let me kind of give you guys a real world example because I understand we're using numbers that just they don't make any sense to us, right? I don't know what the difference is between 100 million and 56 billion. I do know what the difference is, but it's hard for me to fathom. I'd be happy with either one, right? Give me either one. I'm a happy camper all the way around. So imagine you're the boss, right? Because as shareholders, we are the boss of these companies in the end, right? That is who, basically Elon works for the board works for the shareholders. That is how the structure works. So we are the owners of the company there. And when we as shareholders look at it and pretend like you're a boss at your place of work, and you have one employee who you pay $100,000 and another employee who you pay $5.6 million. And guess what? The employee you paid $100,000 produces more sales than the guy who gets paid $5.6 million. What would you do as a boss? I think it's pretty obvious. You're obviously promoting or doing something for the guy making 100,000, and you're absolutely cutting the pay of the guy making 5.6 million, especially when the performance has been half as good during the time frame, or even if they were equal, or even if it was a little bit above. Well, hey, guess what? This is 100,000. This is 5.6 million. I think as a business, and think about it as a business owner, you're making the decision to either cut that person completely or giving them a significant pay cut. And again, I'm not using a singular year here. I'm doing this over a 5-year period. And then we can get down to, well, Elon wants to own 25% of the company for a variety of reasons. And I can give you guys example after example how I don't think 25% is reasonable. And the biggest reason why is, well, Jensen only owns 3%. Zuck owns, let me see here, I got it right here, 13%. Bezos owns 9%. Larry Page owns, 3% of Google. There's example after founders, true founders of companies who were the CEOs or are currently the CEOs, and they own significantly less in regards to their percent of the company than what Elon owns right now today. So to say he needs to own more of the company is just, again, when we're looking at facts, doesn't really seem to be all that reasonable. Fact number 4, my valuation does not include AI or Optimus or even Robotaxi. Now, Elon has said this, not me. Elon has said FSD is far enough along that it could go right on without him and be whatever it's going to be in the future in order for us to get there. And for me, FSD, just as a product, not all the other things we can do with it, but just as a product, is already a cherry on top in regards to when I'm looking at what Tesla can do. So for me, all those other things, if they go away, it doesn't hurt my valuation on Tesla any because I wasn't counting on any of those to reach any of these ridiculous prices. I'm sorry, I'm not counting on Tesla to be at $100,000 per share by 2030 like some folks are, or even $10,000 a share by then, or whatever the case is. And I know a lot of folks out there bought into this narrative that I've been speaking about from the start and getting blasted for it, of course, that trying to lottery style invest where I'm just going to put $1,000 into Tesla and it's going to turn into 10 million in the future is just ridiculous. You're not solving your money problem. You are playing the lottery at that stage. And some of these market caps that you have to get to in order for you to even hit your numbers, there's not enough money in the world to push the stock to that level. It's more than the entire money supply of the entire world. So they don't even, it can't happen, even if you want it to happen, regardless of what all the pretty spreadsheets and everybody else that they put out there says. It's just not realistic. So for me, this does not hurt my valuation for Tesla in a sense, because I'm not counting on it. Those are all just going to be additional things to me that might very well turn into a, incredible stock into the future, like Apple's been for me in the past over the course of 20 years. Not this little condensed time frame of 5 or 6 years like everybody seems to be in a rush to get to. I'm not. If I'm looking out and at 5 years from now, Tesla stock is at, $800, we'll say, or $600. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot for it to be even just at $400, $500 over a 5-year period, doubling up your money in 5 years. You take a look, you do the math there and tell me what your return is every single year and tell me if you aren't crushing the market during that time. And the answer is you are crushing the market during that time, which makes Tesla stock a great investment for me. But I'm not counting on utterly ridiculous narratives and utterly ridiculous price targets to somehow get me out of some sort of hole that I'm in right now, or somehow, it's my lottery ticket to riches in the future. Doesn't mean it can't do incredibly well. Doesn't mean it can't obviously well outperform that. But if it doesn't outperform that, I'm okay with that because my valuation is not based on any of that sort of stuff. I'll wait until we see what robo-taxi does, what the actual demand is. And then, of course, can Tesla do it? What's the profit margin on it? It's going to be great. Is it going to be small? We don't know yet. Everybody out there guessing is a 100% guessing and making it up. I heard a video the other day. It was just like, oh yeah, Uber's just going to go away, as soon as Tesla goes, and everybody's going to choose Tesla over public transit, and everybody's going to just choose or robo-taxi over public transit and over Uber. I mean, it was just like, where are these assumptions coming from? Who's assuming that it's going to be cheaper than a bus ticket? Who's assuming that it's going to be cheaper than an Uber ride once it's all said and done? I understand that maybe the goal is to get it there, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen instantly. And instantly people are just going to be cool with it. Instantly it's going to be approved all around the world as, sure, you can run these robo-taxis anywhere. It's just not going to be the case at all. But a lot of folks are basing price targets on narratives like that. And it just simply is not going to be the case, at least not initially. We may build there over time, but we'll have plenty of time to adjust our price targets and see what those actual numbers are when we get there. So what is my take on the compensation package and what it means? All right, guys, those were the facts. So let me give you my 3 opinions on this particular subject right here. And I'm being very clear. These are my opinions. That's it. I'm not telling you guys this is what's going to happen or anything else like that. They're strictly my opinions, and I want to be upfront with that. To include my opinion on if I think this pay package gets approved or not, that's absolutely going to be in here as well. So opinion number 1, Elon has no desire to take another company public. All right, now let me kind of unpack this one a little bit because there's a lot to it. He has said before in the past, and I'm sure he would, if you could sit him down in a room right now today, he'd tell you a lot of the constraints on publicly traded companies, a lot of the roles and responsibilities as a CEO, a lot of what he can and can't say as a CEO when you're a publicly traded company is completely different from a private company. All of it, there's so much, the difference is massive in terms of that. And he hates almost all the stuff that comes along with being a publicly traded CEO. So it makes sense that if, he, for whatever reason, decides to leave Tesla, which we'll talk about that here in just a second, he has no desire to take another company public. But why do you take a company public? Because that is where the massive cash infusion happens. That's also where your massive cash, basically cash out as an investor, as a founder, as the person that started the mission, the company happens as well. That's when it all happens. That's the reason why everybody's goal when you start up a company at some point in time in the future, if you're wanting to grow to a certain point or reach that billion-dollar status, and Elon's playing in the world of billions now, that's where you have to go. You've got to go public in order to kind of hit that billion-dollar level. In order to be playing around with billions of dollars at that stage, that's where you got to go. He knows that. He's plenty smart enough to know that's absolutely where the cash out mechanisms are in regards to growing a business, in terms of growing his own personal net wealth. All of that, they all revolve around being a publicly traded company. And I just don't think he has the stomach to start all over again and take a company public again and then have to deal with all the same stuff and build up all the same shareholder equity and all the other things that come along, and all the scrutiny, more importantly, that comes along with being a publicly traded CEO and taking a company public. It is a lot. So in my opinion, I don't think he has any desire to do that. But if he doesn't do that, he is leaving a ton of money hanging out there that he has no ability to access otherwise. Which leads me perfectly into number 2, which is he isn't going anywhere. Now again, follow me all the way through here on this point. He needs the money. Now, I'm not talking about in regards to living life or doing any of the things he wants to do in regards to his own personal life, buy houses or yachts or sports clubs or whatever the case is. Not talking about any of that sort of stuff. His vision and his dreams are much larger than what we see right now. You're not going to Mars without billions upon billions of dollars more coming to those particular projects over the years. And he's going to need a continual stream of billions of dollars in order to make those to happen. And the easiest place right now to get billions of dollars, basically that he can use any way he wants, is through Tesla and his compensation package. Even if he doesn't receive 56 billion, if he receives 10 billion, 5 billion, it's still access to money that is incredibly hard to get outside of those parameters. And he needs those in order to fund all these future missions that he has and all these future initiatives that he has. Oh, and by the way, a lot of those initiatives can be helped out through Tesla, which of course, if he got out as CEO and he decided to leave, he no longer has the influence over Tesla to basically use parts of Tesla in order to fund or help out with or provide technology for the other ventures. It doesn't work in reverse nearly as well as it works the way it works right now. He knows that his Tesla Pay and Tesla itself are the funding engines for his future endeavors that he has in mind. That's the truth, guys. There is no other place he can go right now where he's going to get paid billions. He could go work for Nvidia right now. They're not giving him billions. You name the company, it's not happening. So this right here is the place. It's where he's got to fund it. And he's a smart guy. He knows exactly how to play this Twitter game and how to say things in interviews and other things like that to try to rally people to his side. I mean, it's a smart move, right? I mean, if I got $56 billion on the line, I'm going to say and do things and put things out there that are going to make it appear as though, oh man, I might very well leave. I might take my ball and go home, or maybe I'll not do this and I'll do this instead. And a lot of other things like that. It's smart play to try to get your way, to try to get the vote to swing your way, right? I mean, this is voting in a sense. We see the same exact thing whenever we have votes, votes going on for various things around our country or any other time. There's some lobbying that goes on. There's some gamesmanship that goes on. And to me, this is nothing more than that. I don't think he goes anywhere. But what do I think happens to his compensation package, and does it get approved? Now, I have no facts here. I have nothing I can point to that tells me definitively this is what I think is going to happen. But I do believe that it's going to get approved in the end. I just do. That's just, again, strictly a feeling. It's strictly an opinion. It's nothing else like that. Would I be surprised if it got disapproved? I'd be a little bit surprised, yeah, to be honest with you. Although I understand that there's a lot more larger institutional type shareholders than there was before, in regards to that, whereas opposed it was almost all retail that held it before. A lot of retail held it before, so it was very, very easy. Actually, most people probably back when it was approved the first time didn't even vote, to be perfectly honest. But nonetheless, as it kind of moves forward right here, I think it's probably going to get approved. Do I think the vote's going to be as wide? I think it was like 75%. I don't remember the exact number. It's in the 70% somewhere voted yes versus no. I think that number definitely gets closer to 50 this time around versus before. Maybe not. Again, it's all opinion here based upon really nothing outside of just the noise and everything else coming around it. But that's my opinion on it. Is I think it gets approved in the end. And more importantly, and the important lesson I want you guys to take is not to freaking worry about stuff like this. Look at the facts. Look at what's actually out there, not all the emotional drama that's out there, the actual facts of the situation, and then take a look at what do I think is going to happen or not. Let me make the appropriate decisions for my portfolio. What happens if he does leave? What happens if he stays? What happens if he gets a pay cut? Whatever the case is, work through all the different scenarios, because that's what you need to do as a prudent investor, and then decide from there what you want to do. And if you want to see if I would add Tesla to my portfolio, if I was starting from scratch, is that one of the stocks that I would want in order to really take my portfolio from 0 to 6 figures and beyond? Check out the pinned comment down there. There's just a handful of founder spots left. Everything expires this weekend in regards to that. So, basically I've been adding new spots in order to get folks in. And after this weekend, I'm not going to be able to accommodate anymore. I'm going to cut it off. Those founder spots are gone. So make sure you check out the pinned comment, see everything you get. If you want full membership, it's on sale too, where you basically get free coaching, see all my buy and sell alerts in real time in all my portfolio, see my watch list complete with price targets, which I just updated, guys. Just updated it yesterday, and a whole bunch more. Just check out the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.